vassals. Lord Cumnor was a forbearing landlord, and used his own eyes and ears in the management of the smaller details of his property. But his tenants liked my lord all the better for this habit of his. Lord Cumnor had certainly a little turn for gossip. But then the Countess made up by her unapproachable dignity for this weakness of the Earl's. Once a year, she was condescending. She and the ladies, her daughters, had set up a school of the kind we should call industrial, where girls were taught to sew beautifully, to be capital housemaids and pretty fair cooks, and above all, to dress neatly. Now, as the Countess was absent from the Towers for a considerable part of the year, she was glad to enlist the sympathy of the Hollingford ladies in this school, with a view to obtaining their aid as visitors during the many months that she and her daughters were away, and the various unoccupied gentlewomen of the town responded to the call of their liege lady and gave her their service. In return, there was a day of honour set apart every summer, when, with much gracious and stately hospitality, Lady Cumnor and her daughters received all the school visitors at the Towers. The order of this annual festivity was this. About 10 o'clock, one of the Towers' carriages drove to different houses, wherein dwelt a woman to be honoured, picking them up by ones or twos, till the loaded carriage drove back again and deposited its covey of smartly dressed ladies on the great flight of steps leading to the ponderous doors of Cumnor Towers. Back again to the town, another picking up of womankind in their best clothes, and so on till the whole party were assembled. After the proper amount of exhibition on the one part and admiration on the other had been done, there was a collation for the visitors, and some more display and admiration of the treasures inside the house. Towards 4 o'clock, coffee was brought round, and this was a sign of the approaching carriage that was to take them back to their own homes, whither they returned with the happy consciousness of a well-spent day, but with some fatigue at the long exertion of behaving their best for so many hours. Nor were Lady Cumnor and her daughters free from something of the same fatigue, the fatigue that always follows on conscious efforts to behave as will best please the society you're in. For the first time in her life, Molly Gibson was to be included among the guests of the Towers. Lord Cumnor, on a pottering expedition, had met Mr. Gibson, the doctor of the neighbourhood, coming out of a farmhouse my lord was entering. Molly was there too, sitting square on her rough little pony, her grave eyes opened large and wide at the close neighbourhood of the Earl. For to her the grey-haired, red-faced, somewhat clumsy man was a cross between an archangel and a king.
"Your daughter, eh, Gibson? Nice little girl. How old?" "He's sadly behind with his rent. As I was saying, but if he's really ill, I must see after Sheepshanks, who is a hardish man of business. What's his complaint? You'll come to our school scrimmage on Thursday, little girl. Mind you send her, or bring her, Gibson. Don't forget, little girl. It's a promise between us, is it not?"
And off the Earl trotted. Mr. Gibson mounted, and Molly said, "May I go, Papa?" Now, there were two things to be done by Mr. Gibson before he could feel quite comfortable about Molly's going to the Towers, and each of them involved a little trouble on his part. But he was very willing to gratify his little girl, so the next day he rode over to the Towers, ostensibly to visit some sick housemaid, but in reality to throw himself in my lady's way, and get her to ratify Lord Cumnor's invitation to Molly. He chose his time with a little natural diplomacy, which indeed he had often to exercise in